Thank you for inviting me to participate in your collection of portraits of survivors. My name is Samuel Buck. I live in Massachusetts. 89 years ago, I was born in Vilnius, today the capital of Lithuania. My family was of a Jewish middle class, rather secular, but proud to be member of a community which was famous for its rich cultural heritage. When World War II broke out, I was 6, and when it ended, 11. I was among the very lucky 4.5% of the Jewish community of Lithuania that survived the massacre of Hitler's executioners. I lost my father, my grandparents, uncles, aunts, my very best friend, other friends. Mother and I survived, and life went on. Life as a refugee, as a legitimate wanderer, as a displaced person, as a newcomer to the early established state of Israel, a soldier, a student. I studied art in Jerusalem and in Paris. I lived in Israel, France, Italy, Switzerland, and at age 60 I settled in the US and became an American citizen. I was among the very, very lucky artists who made it, making a decent living by creating art. What a privilege. My work has been, as you would say, recognized. A large canvas I painted in 1976 hangs today in the rotunda of the Museum of Fine Arts of Boston. Vilnius has a Samuel Buck Museum. In Florida, in St. Petersburg, the Holocaust Museum has a large full-year Buck exhibition. The Holocaust Museum of Houston has a permanent art gallery which exhibits its large collection of my work. There are over 20 different books dedicated to it. I have received innumerable awards and 5 honorary doctorates. Above all, I have a wonderful relationship with my art dealer, my dear friend Bernie Pucker. Our friendship is anchored in many values we share, and it has been lasting now for over 50 years. I guess that at my age I am supposed to be wise, to grasp the extent of my luck, and fully understand what I am doing as an artist. Is that possible? Being a survivor of such an immense catastrophe, in which 6 million people, 6 million Jews perished, inevitably deposits a trauma that is part of one's being. It harshly accentuates, it taints one's perceptions, observations, emotions. In my young age, I was made to see from very near the darkest evil, and on the other hand, the most altruistic goodness. People, Christians, risk their lives to save mine. How can an artist speak of all that? There are no rules, there are no answers. In the 50s of last century, I began to speak of my lost world, mostly in monochrome, mostly in abstractions that dealt with loss and pain. But they brought me to an impasse. The representation of any reality implied non-art, illustration. It was a taboo then. And that Michelangelo and Dürer were the greatest illustrators of the Bible didn't count. In the mid-60s, I was inspired by pop art, which legalized figuration. My paintings turned to a representational mode then. On one hand, inspired by the great masters, on the other by the surrealists. I created images of a world that was destroyed and then partially repaired, and went on existing almost as a mystery. Reconstructed by getting close to what once existed is a form of guessing, which is often on the brink of misrepresentation. It was fascinating to deal with that. I try to create images that capture the attention of their beholders and make them wonder. Basically, I think that my questions, disguised as answers, are a visual bait for the ones who look at what I am doing and what I am presenting. I was asked about the role of art in times of war. It's a good question. I have a very encompassing acceptance of what art is. For me, it is a tool of communication, of expression, a tool of sharing thoughts about our human condition. Today, cartoons, photos, videos, and movies often reach the qualities of high art, like paintings, sculptures, installations, and works of architecture that transcend time and fashions. I wonder if I have a memory of any period in my life in which humanity wasn't at some situation of war, even a faraway war. Times in which lives of individuals weren't sacrificed for aims and interests of powers that are beyond our grasp. I will remember World War II. Oh my. Korea, Indonesia, Algiers, the Six-Day War, the Yom Kippur War, Vietnam, Iraq, Syria, Rwanda, Ukraine, to name just some of them, the important ones, maybe. They brought death, destruction, exile. All these things leave me speechless. But an artist has the capacity to create art that speaks, art that communicates with others. An artist can convey his or her observations of man's potential, express what is human, what longs for reconciliation and peace, for repair and reconstruction. The creation of art is always pertinent, in times of war as well as in times of peace. Despite the very dark clouds that hover over my head, I am enjoying my comfortable studio, an illusion of local peace and serenity, and it allows me to go on creating art in the spirit of the works that speak of all the above, all what I said before. So, please consider me a very lucky devil, please, and thank you.